Hello and welcome to another episode of The Screen Chronicles. My name is Steve, and with me as always is the Green Colbstone. How are you doing today, Colby?
Feeling green. I'm feeling very green indeed today. That's because we are talking about the new movie that just came out, The Green Knight.
We're going to start out here talking about a non-spoiler review of the movie.
Yes.
If you haven't seen the movie, we're going to talk about that. We'll give you our score, our thoughts, who should see it, if you should see it. And then after that, we're going to get into a spoiler discussion where we'll really break down what we were thinking and some of our theories that we've seen and heard, some of the things we've learned, some of the thoughts we have about who was who, what is what does this mean, that kind of stuff. So make sure to stick around for that if you've seen the movie.
Or if you need things explained too, because there were definitely some things that were not super clear.
Yeah.
Some of that was definitely left up for interpretation by the people who made the movie. Let us know in the comments what you thought, because I think this movie definitely, I've heard a lot of varying opinions of. It's definitely a movie that you can interpret in different ways.
Generally, what did you think about the movie, Colby?
Going into the movie, they had created this amazing trailer. I'm talking like, and listen, I didn't go in expecting a Lord of the Rings movie, but the trailer was like absolute fantasy adventure, like everything I've loved since I was a kid. That's what the trailer looked like. It had the Knights of the Round Table unsheathing their swords sequentially around the table. They had King Arthur looking old. They had Sir Gawain and Dev Patel, who I like the actor Dev Patel a lot, looked like a pretty cool knight. They had this awesome looking Green Knight in the trailer. They had giants in the trailer. I mean, it looked epic. The trailer looked epic. The movie was not epic. I think that's safe to say.
Yes.
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
It was not a very exciting movie. I think the beginning was pretty exciting. The beginning really just, it was pretty much what the trailer was. We're not going too much into spoilers here, but if you watch the trailer, you know, and then from there on, it wasn't super exciting. And I left the theater feeling fairly disappointed.
Yes.
I felt a little confused. And I was fairly familiar with the Sir Gawain and the Green Knight tale that's from the 14th century. We learned about it in one of my literature courses. I had learned about the tale. And it definitely has its diversions, definitely some big diversions from the original tale, which is fine. I just was expecting more from the movie, and it left me leaving a little bit. I was bored at times. It wasn't a super clear message. You know, I understand the message of the movie, but I just think they could have executed it better, and that's how I feel about the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much feel the same. Pretty much. We both saw the trailer. If you look at, we did a trailer reaction video. Last time not the last time, but 2 times ago we were in person, and we were pretty psyched to see this. I mean, Netflix has put out a couple medieval sort of battle movies. They were pretty meh. You didn't hate them, didn't love them. So to see a movie coming out to theaters that had some heavy hitting actors in it, a great director, David Lowery, you know, I knew the studio A24. And from all the reviews before I had seen it, the people who had actually got screenings of it before it came out to the regular theater goer people, us plebeians, that it was not going to be a Lord of the Rings. So it's like you said, we were not expecting Lord of the Rings. And if people out there are like, you guys didn't like it because it wasn't Lord of the Rings, and we weren't expecting that.
No.
We knew that it was going to be a mind sort of story movie, movie about morals and thoughts and twists and weird stuff. We knew that.
And honor.
That's what a knight does.
Honor.
But as far as, like you said, the execution of that, it was boring. And I think you could have got the same messages across with it being exciting. I'm not saying we need a bunch of explosions and giant ghost battles and things like that.
No.
But I mean, I need something. I need something that's other than just long tracking shots here, you know? So
yeah, exactly. And that was my problem. There were a few shots I just wondered, why did the director choose to keep that shot that long. It was a lot of beautiful cinematography and beautiful shots, and I liked the look of the movie from a filmmaking standpoint. But some of the like tedious scenes that really didn't do anything for me. There wasn't a point to them. Maybe somebody can point out. This isn't really too much of a spoiler, but there's one time in the movie where he rides on his horse for what feels like probably was close to like 3 minutes long. And he's just riding on his horse down a lane, and nothing really happened. It was just him riding his horse. So again, some people absolutely love this movie. The critics loved it. The audience score was really pretty bad, like around 50%
on Rotten Tomatoes.
On Rotten Tomatoes, which we take into account. We like to kind of see the interaction between the critics and audience scores on there.
We normally look
and I can see why, because this movie was pretty artsy. It was they really kind of took advantage of having some cool artsy type shots. And I like that. I mean, I like that in film. I just think that it didn't really lend to the plot a lot of the times. It didn't really lend to Sir Gawain in the movie. They say Gawain.
Yeah.
To his story.
If you're someone who likes in-depth mind movies, which I think I do a fair amount. I like Shutter Island. I like Fight Club. I like, even some bigger known ones like Joker, Dark Knight.
I just watched A Beautiful Mind the other night too, by the way. And that was a mind movie.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot out there. Some I can't even think of right now. Seven, I guess, is kind of one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ones like that I like, and I would have loved to have that in a movie, but all the movies I just listed also had excitement in them and had moments where you had feelings of accomplishment or you were coming close to accomplishment. And
maybe even they just flowed well. They flew well. They flew well.
Yeah. For me, this movie didn't do it. And I think if you're someone who likes those kinds of movies, though, and you're someone that you're fine with just reading into messages and looking into what this could have meant, that's fine. But I guess, we're both, in the science medical profession. So maybe it's just because we both have factual science and present this to me in a digestible kind of way, kind of brains. Maybe that's why it didn't register. But
yes, I mean, to be fair, we also went in with super high expectations, and I've seen a lot of I've liked almost every A24 movie I've seen that's come out of that production company.
If you're into that, I think you would like this movie. If you're someone though who you're into, some events happening in a movie and getting somewhat of a conclusive ending, you're not going to be satisfied and you're not going to enjoy this. So
if you're someone who doesn't like reading into scenes, doesn't like having to interpret different scenes,
and that being the only thing about the movie, we like doing those things.
When we do
movies we like, and there's things to read into. We go down the rabbit hole and read into it. But movies where the only substance to them is to read into it. I mean, there's not much to enjoy when you're there going through it the first time, and we've only seen it once, by the way. If someone's out there, we have looked up things since then. Maybe if we went back, we would change some. I still don't think. I think I would still be bored.
It comes down to how the movie flowed. The movie didn't flow well. I actually like some of the concepts. I like some of the things they were going for, some of the trials he had to go through, but I just think it could have been done differently, and I think they could have executed it better. And I think reading into it after, it didn't make me like the movie, but it made me appreciate a couple things that I didn't realize while I was watching it the first time. Still, even after learning those things, I still didn't love it, and I still thought, even in those instances, it could have been better.
This was, as you mentioned earlier, this was based off of an Arthurian legend about Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. But if you didn't look up any information about what the movie was about, if you just watched the trailer, or if you just went to the movie theater without even watching the trailer, I mean, you would never even know that there was King Arthur, that there was who this was, if this was Merlin or You know,
right? They don't say their names.
I think the only name mentioned is Sir Gawain or Gawain,
right?
Like as you said.
They released right before it came out, about a week or two before, they released everything you need to know about the Green Knight on their on their Instagram, on their social media, and that's where it told you who the characters were.
Mm-hmm.
And they also told you the message of the movie in that thing about how basically, if you watch that video, it says, you know, it comes down to one thing: to let honor be your guiding light in the darkest of times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the point of the movie.
And
it's always been the point of the legend.
We got the point of the movie. Just it wasn't the execution.
Right.
Before we get into our spoiler talk here, though, let's give it a score, Colby. Score out of 10.
All right. It's going to be one of the lowest scores I've ever given, I think. I'm going to go 4 out of 10. It gets some points for me from the beautiful cinematography. I think Dev Patel did a lot of the actors, I don't think it was anything to do with the acting. The acting was good. I liked the Green Knight. I liked how he looked. The story was not executed. I don't think they drove their points home, and that's why the score goes down to about a 4.
I was literally thinking the exact same number, 4. So now we have an official Screen Chronicles. You don't even have to average it out. It's just 4.
Well, what is the average of 4 and 4?
Let's think about this. Actually, let's not even end with this, and then we'll never even know. So
okay, let's awkwardly cut right about here.
All right, so let's get into spoilers now. We are back. Sorry about that. So let's talk about the spoilers about the movie. Before we get into some of our theories about who was what, let me break down, I guess, a little bit more about where we're coming from. I guess I'm going to start out with some things I don't like. Actually, let's say some spoiler things that we did like. Let's start out spoiler things we did. Yes.
Okay, you go first. No,
I loved when the credits stopped rolling and I could just leave the theater. No, I mean, cinematography. I loved the scenes in the forest, especially when he was going to go see the Green Knight to surrender, and fulfill his goal. That was beautiful. And I liked his other trials, just the visuals for it. We talked about the tracking shot in the spoiler-free section. I like the tracking shot where he was going through the battlefield and all these men who died honorable deaths, which is what he's seeking, is honor and possibly an honorable death, were the ones who weren't buried. So it was kind of speaking to, all right, well, the honorable ones aren't getting honorable burials. They're just dead on a field. And so, but I mean, that shot where he was just going through there, seeing that, I love that shot, talking to the scoundrel kid there. And, yeah, I mean, I loved seeing some splooge for the first time in a movie.
Oh,
no, I did not. I mean, that was honestly the first time I'd ever seen that in a movie in theaters. That was odd to say, but I mean,
that was unexpected.
Yeah.
Now,
I like the Green Knight, and I
wanted more of him.
I wanted more. Seeing Excalibur. When Gawain got to hold Excalibur and the light kind of went on it, the music changed. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. What's his name? Sean McCann, is it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Sean McCann, he played a good elderly King Arthur. You know, Sir Gawain being his nephew. And I did like that part. I liked, again, Dev Patel, I thought was a good actor. I thought he did a good job. I liked especially the moment when the Green Knight comes and his reaction to having to strike a blow to this Green Knight. He was kind of like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
just want me to cut your head off? Like, I was like, I liked it. He was kind of scared. Yeah, he was trying to act brave. This was his moment. His acting was great. I liked Like we said, there's a lot of the cinematography. I also like the one long tracking shot where he's on his horse on the road, but it just should have been ended like a couple minutes sooner. Like it was just like, okay, like maybe somebody's going to jump out at him. It's going to be a cool move. It was just like, all right, and then they cut scene and they go to the next one. All right, whatever. And I do like the message of the movie about how you should always treat things honorably. It's not even the message. I mean, it is the message of the movie, but it's the message of the story.
Yeah.
It always has been that you should live life honorably. You should treat every moment, with honor, and not basically not cheat, not lie to people, don't deceive people. Because the moral of the story in the legend is that when Gawain did beat the Green Knight by wearing the sash that protects him, he lived a shameful life. It brought him shame. And that's no way to be. It's no way to be a knight.
Yeah.
Especially a knight of the round table. So we're going to get into some of those more deeper theories about the movie. I love movies that have theories in them.
Yeah.
I wish I was more excited about it, but
yeah. Before we get into some of our theories and break down some of the plot points and stuff and explain, I'm just going to wrap up some things here that I didn't like, so you can hear. With some spoilers here, the ending was just terrible. I mean, the whole movie, I was waiting for something because, I mean, like I said, normally a hero's journey, you have stumbles and falls, but you at least come up every now and then. I guess his second trial when he met Winifred in the cabin and brought her skull back, I guess that was him coming back up, but it was still, the scene was literally him going from the house out to the water, getting a skull, coming back inside. But that scene was like, 15 minutes?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, that shot was beautiful when he was going in the water, but
it was beautiful. The quest was cool, but he kind of still, though, when we talk about, we'll specifically name the trials and what they were, but he still kind of failed that. And you could tell at the time he failed it because of what he asked for. What am I getting out of this? Can I get something out of it? You could tell he felt happy for helping her, and he ended up getting the axe back then. But it was just, it was literally, if you had that quest in a video game, it would take no time at all. And if you did, there was going to be a crazy twist where you have to fight a dragon or demon or something, That
would be like one of those like pointless quests that you would avoid in video games.
Yeah.
Like the, okay, this isn't a fun one. Let's,
Or you just blow through it and you just skip all the conversation and you're done. And you get the XP and you're done. And so, I mean, there was that. That one to me, like I said, everything could have been shortened. And I like that you can read into stuff, but I just felt like that was the only thing. And then you get to the end, and it was cool because he's wearing the sash. He's wearing his man love sash that he blessed himself, essentially.
Yes. In the holiest of ways.
In the holiest of ways. But I mean, just him waiting for the Green Knight took forever too, by the way. I was just like, oh my God, like, we're here. Let's go. And I get like they were trying to make a point like this is not supposed to be the epic battle conclusion story thing that's normally happens in movies. But I mean, still, he runs away. Then you see, you think he runs away. He has a vision of what happens. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that doesn't happen, right? He lives this terrible life where he's basically self-centered. He wears his sash all the time in shame, which is basically maybe what could even been alluded to happening in the original story where he actually succeeded in all the trials, failed in the last one. Maybe that's what actually would have happened. But instead, he takes it off, and then the Green Knight is like, good job. Now, off with your head.
That's all he says. And he smiles a little bit. And
at least in the story, the original Green Knight tale, you find out the Green Knight was who would have been Joel Edgerton's character in the woods, the man who was going hunting and had the house. That was who it was in the legend, anyways. You don't find out who the Green Knight is.
Yeah. I think it was supposed to be in this.
Yeah.
I still think it was supposed to be him.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there was just nothing explained. And like Gawain said, like, this is it. There's nothing else. And the Green Knight was like, what else should there be? And they were they were making the point, like, not everything about honor needs to have a point. It's just you're doing it for the sake of honor. I get it.
Right.
But what was the point? He dies in the end. His mom sent him to his death.
Maybe. I don't know if he dies. I personally don't think he dies.
I've heard, I don't know if it's true. I read online though that the director did film the scene where Gawain gets his head chopped off by the Green Knight. They kept it out of the movie though to keep it ambiguous. So I mean, to me, he dies. Like I don't know. They show a girl at the end. There is an end credit scene if you're an MCU person, and it's a girl putting on a crown. I don't know if it's supposed to be his daughter or someone else. I don't know, but I was not satisfied. I was bored throughout, and all these scenes, like I said, and also too some of the things that didn't make sense. Like as you're watching, conversations between people did not make sense. It's just like, why are people interacting this way with each other? Especially when he gets to the house with the wife and the husband who are there. He doesn't ask, why is there a woman here with a blindfold on? He doesn't.
Now that's from the original legend too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like then the girl goes off on just like a speech forever about returning to the green. And I get, we all die in the end, all that stuff. I get the message. But I mean, just like, it just wasn't normal conversation. And I get it's supposed to be a legend, but you deviated from the legend. You changed it. So
yeah,
I was just like, this isn't how people would talk. And again, that might just be a flaw with me for not getting it. But yeah, so that's some lump of my spoiler thoughts about why I didn't like it. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't really think I have anything to add. I just, again, it was just like building up to something. And, my interpretation when I watched the movie was not that he was killed at the end. It was that because he did show the honor, that he was going to be spared by the Green Knight, who was also Joel Edgerton's character, the man at the house. And that was my interpretation of it. But, who knows if we'll ever find out. Maybe it is confirmed, that he died.
Like you said, in the legend, that's supposed to be him. But also, I think he was told, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Winifred.
It was Carly. It was Winifred.
I think
Winifred said, the Green Knight.
Yeah, before he ever met the guy.
Yeah.
So
it also may have been his mother.
Could have been his mother.
So basically, we told you Dev Patel character, Sir Gawain, is Arthur's nephew, and his mother is the famous Morgan Le Fay, which is Arthur's stepsister. And she has always been known to be a sorceress of sorts. So she, at the beginning of this movie, by the way, she kind of is the one who developed this whole scheme, this whole kind of test. So the question is, Morgan Le Fay, did she do this for her son to test him to become a better person? Or did she do this as a ploy? Because she's always been Arthur's rival in the stories. Did she do this to, usurp the throne for her son? So that's a debate we can talk about later. But, adding to things that I didn't like about it, again, it was a lot of the director choices for me. And, I think more things will come up as we continue to talk about it, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, let's kind of go through some of his trials. And it starts out with him. Go ahead.
I was going to say one thing I liked the up until the end when the Green Knight departs. I really liked that scene in the chambers on Christmas in Camelot. And again, it was pretty much what they showed in the trailer, but it was a pretty epic scene. And you see Morgan Le Fay with her blindfold on in another room at the same time, like writing the words on the page that are said by the Green Knight through Guinevere's mouth. And you can see she's constructing this whole thing. But so that scene I really liked.
I was enjoying the movie really up until really his first challenge. Well, actually, maybe even after his first challenge.
Yeah. Because that was fairly exciting, that part.
Yeah. So, I mean, it starts out, we see Sir Gawain is a guy who doesn't live by honor. He has prostitutes in this world
on Christmas.
On Christmas. He doesn't live up any the tenets.
He skipped mass, right?
He skipped mass.
Or he told his mom he was at mass, but he was really at a brothel with.
Yeah. So he's not an honorable guy. He's not a pious religious guy, which is important in their culture. He doesn't actually do anything. He doesn't actively go out and have experiences.
Right. And they talk about that as Gawain is talking with his uncle Arthur, the king, and he's like, "Look around, Gawain. Look, all these men have a ton of stories. I want you to tell me one of your stories." And it's a pretty cool moment, I thought. And Gawain's like, "I don't have any," And I was like, "Damn, okay. Like, here we go. This is setting up for an underdog story here, I'm excited." And that's when Morgan Le Fay, the Green Knight, comes in shortly after that. And Gawain thinks, okay, this is my moment, to have a story like the rest of these guys. But you're right. He doesn't live like the code. The code of chivalry and honor. He doesn't live by it. He's supposed to practice, chastity and things like that, but he's fooling around at a brothel, and he doesn't even want the girl that he seems to be in love with. He's not even really. He kind of hides her away, too.
Yeah,
which is also not honorable.
She straight up says, "I want to marry you," when he's about to go on his quest, and he's like, no,
what's that? I've gotten too far away on my horse.
They're obviously setting him up then to prove himself these ways. And then his challenges and some things that go on his journey reflect, and you can see the 5 stars or the 5-pointed star on the floor.
A classic symbol of Arthurian legend.
Which I didn't know until I saw this and you told me.
Right. Well, I actually learned it a little bit, and they don't really dive into it, but in the Bernard Cornwell books I'm reading about King Arthur right now, they wear a 5-pointed star. So I started learning about it there, and then it just went into this movie as well. And it's not really clear in this movie. You can't tell that's what's happening in this movie, that each of his challenges are meant to challenge a certain aspect of the chivalric code that this 5-pointed star represents. Each point of the star represents a different facet of what it means to be honorable.
Yeah, the 5 virtues of knighthood. There's friendship, generosity, chastity, courtesy, and piety.
Right. So his first challenge is challenging generosity, and I think this is one of the most obvious ones of them all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when he asks directions from this kid he found on his journey, and the kid tells him, "Follow the stream." And the kid's like, "Tip? Gratuity, please. I don't tell you where rivers are for free, sir." I don't do this for free.
I know. I was like,
I didn't go to school and learn where that river was for free, to get free directions. And so Gawain's like, okay. Like, here's a nickel, flips him a coin, and you can see the kid's upset. Now, Gawain had a lot of money. He saw the kid was poor. He easily could have dished out a few more coin for the kid. And the kid even says to him when they ambush him. There are a couple others, and they steal everything he had at the time. They hog tie him up, and he says, "You should have gave me more," or something,
I get he could have been more generous there.
Right.
Maybe he should have, but I mean, why are we supposed to feel bad for this kid? This kid was robbing from graves on a battlefield with soldiers, husbands, and sons who are dead from fighting. And then he tells you to follow a river. You know, like it wasn't hard. Now, if he went on the trip with you for a period of time and like said, "All right, now here's some complex directions to help you navigate," pay the dude.
Right.
But
like
I mean,
if he was good to you, but this
follow
kid
that
was like
stream over there. Yeah, just go that way. Just straight that way. I don't know. You might have to turn at some point. Follow the stream for.
And maybe it's the point too that Gawain was not even going to give him anything. I don't know. It seems a little bit of a stretch to me, but that's the point of that theme, is that he was not generous. You know.
And then he gets, like you said, he gets tied up. And
there's a very trippy scene here too, where like Gawain sees himself dead.
Yeah.
By the way, I think this lends Gawain might not be the best narrator. He might not be a reliable narrator. We don't always know what happens in this movie, whether that really happened in the story. There's even a point where Gawain takes mushrooms. He eats mushrooms that he found, and he sees crazy things. And you know, we don't know if that really actually happened, or if he just imagined that happening, hallucinated.
And that's what a lot of people are saying, like, this is what fantasy needs, is what, when I was hearing reviews for this movie, was this even a fantasy movie? Or was it all made up?
It was.
You know?
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of that were, if the beginning of the movie was real, his mom's a witch, and the Green Knight is some sort of creature, you know?
That was conjured by his mom.
Yeah. And the rest of it, like the giants, they just kind of disappear.
They might not have been real.
Him seeing a ghost, maybe not real. Him even being in that house with the husband and wife. The wife looked like his prostitute girlfriend back home.
Same actress, by the way.
Same actress. So was any of that real? You know, I no idea. But yes, I mean, they pan around and you see a skeleton, and I guess. And if you notice too, it gets brighter and greener. And later in the movie, the woman, I can't remember her name. I don't know if they even say her character's name, but the woman is going on and on about green and what the color green is. And eventually everyone returns to the soil. So that's the true color, green. And so there's more green. There's his skeleton. And obviously he's afraid of dying and returning to the earth. So in a way, maybe they're saying he's afraid of an honorable death. And you saw the skeletons out in the field. I can see into that. And I thought it was cool as this happened. I was like, oh, this is trippy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't anything super awesome or anything as I was seeing. And I'd say I was enjoying the movie up to this point, though.
I would agree.
He got ambushed. He's going on an adventure. Things are happening at this point.
And by the way, he couldn't even fight those. I know he was ambushed. He was outnumbered. But, you know, he's supposed to be a knight or becoming a knight. By the way, he's not a knight yet.
Yeah.
And he can't fight off these kids.
I know. I was like,
come on.
They can't even...
And they steal every freaking thing. I mean, by the way, he has the axe. So he did. He had this sash.
They take his mom gave him the belt of invincibility before he left. They took that from him, which really freaked him out. And we do keep seeing the fox too nearby, and I knew the fox was going to team up with them just from the trailer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of maybe wish the fox wasn't in the trailer. Kind of wish the trailer was as boring as the movie.
I know.
But anyway, so that's his first one. He fails it, and I think in the legend he actually passes that. Actually, I don't know if that exact event happens. I don't
even think the exact event happens. I think most of the legend actually takes place in the house.
Yeah.
And a lot of the tests are just, you know, he has to give the owner of the house when he comes back from hunting. They have to exchange what they get, you know, whatever Gawain gets in the house. And there are some like other battles and quests going on, but apparently they're not in great detail in the story.
So again, they added to the story, and then they decided to not add anything super cool. Like, what? So
they did add a lot. Yeah,
he failed his generosity, goes on to his next task after that. He goes into a house and he just lays down in the bed, and then the witch, or not the witch, this ghost comes and asks him to bring back her head. And if this is supposed to be the courtesy.
Yeah. And
because he wasn't courteous, he just laid in a stranger's bed.
Right. That's not very courteous.
And then he asked for money to get her head back.
So basically, she's like, jump in that lake and get my head, please, because I can't do it. I can't jump in there anymore. I'll get all wet. And he's like, all right, but what will you give me in return? Yeah. And she's like so offended. She's just like, why would you even ask that? And that's, I think, when he really failed the courtesy one. Is like, he wouldn't even just do this to be a good dude. You wouldn't even go like,
you're not just going to listen to a strange ghost you met. And again, like, courtesy, like, the guy just got mugged. He asks to come in. No one's in there. It's the middle of the night. If you're not in your home at night, I'm assuming in the house in the middle of the woods, it might be abandoned. So I might lay down in a bed that is super dusty, you know?
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't think that's not being courteous. I think that's just being smart and not just dying for no reason due to exposure. And so
again, I mean, not an obvious test. It's not like I wasn't sitting in the movie theater and when he said, what do I get in return? I wasn't like, there it is. He fucked up. That was no, I was just like, I thought it was kind of funny that she reacted that way.
Yeah. And I thought it was like a learning lesson for him.
Because, I thought it was
and I tied it back to his previous experience with the people who robbed him, because in my head, I was like, they are not good people and they asked for more for a nothing service. Follow the stream. And they robbed him for it. So to me, I was like, this is him repeating that. Like, this is a learning step for you to see it yourself. I don't know if that's something that was intended. That's how I saw it, though. And,
at the time, that's how I saw it, definitely.
And but anyway, he gets her skull back. And can you imagine how I reacted at a certain point, Colby?
Yeah, when she goes back and her head falls off, she's holding the skull, and you look down and it's her head. Oh yeah, I thought of you there.
I jumped so bad.
Oh, Carly Morgenthau.
Carly Morgenthau. Oh my god.
Oh, girl from Solo.
Oh, girl from Falcon Winter Soldier.
So there was a second test. Gawain failed.
He did get his axe back.
0 for 2. He got 3 more chances. Yeah, he got his axe, which also was just like, and that kind of led me to think, is like, okay, this whole thing is being conjured by whoever's behind the Green Knight. You know, this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably, I think that is true. I think the whole event was, and in the legend, I believe it was as well. So anyway, he moves on. He befriends the fox. What does the fox say? But
Doom.
Doom.
That's what the fox said.
And we'll get to the friendship one later, because I think that's the last one he fails.
Yeah, but I mean, this is supposed to represent friendship, though.
Yeah, so the fox is like, the fox is like his only friend right now in the movie, and
eventually he's going through the woods trying to survive. He eats mushrooms, and I interpreted it as him just tripping balls because he like sees the Green Knight like off in the distance and in like space.
Yeah.
And then eventually too, they're going and they come across the giants from the trailer, which again, I knew that this wasn't gonna be Lord of the Rings giant, or Harry Potter kind of stuff going on. But I mean, the giants didn't do a damn thing for the movie.
No, they did not. Mm-mm.
So I mean, like,
I would say this. I think it did show that he was looking for a shortcut.
Yeah,
and he shouldn't take it. And his friend was like, "Yo, bro, come on, you ain't about that, bro.
You don't want a shortcut on your honor quest."
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
So he like barked away the hand. I'd have to say too, again, you told me the quote from Rotten Tomatoes that someone said like the trailer was made by like geniuses or something.
Yeah, whoever
because-
made the trailer deserves an Oscar.
Yeah, because there's a shot of him when he's just like, hey, giants, and he's holding up his axe. He's like just getting their attention. But if you look at it like in a trailer or on a poster, it looks like he's like screaming in victory with the axe and the fox on this mountain with the wind blowing on him. It looks epic, and you're like, yeah, something epic and honorable's happening there.
Yeah.
No, he's literally like an Uber taxi.
Hey, yeah. He's like, give me a ride on your shoulder. Yeah, but it just goes to show he's not an honorable guy. He's looking for shortcuts. Again, some people might interpret that as not being honorable. Some people might interpret that as being really fucking smart.
Yeah, the
like,
Eagles from the Lord of the Rings, right?
No, but anyway,
does anyone know what the Giants stood for? Does anyone really know? Because again, he follows them for a bit and they disappear. So they weren't really there.
Never show up again.
Yeah. So if anyone actually knows what the Giants stood for, because I was confused because it seemed like they were all women. So I don't know if it was supposed to represent like the Mother Earth, and the Green Knight is like the Earth and stuff. I can't really articulate anything with that, but
yeah. But if anybody has an idea or a theory, let us know. We'd love to read about it.
Because none of the other videos or talks I've seen have ever explained that when I've looked it up. So the Knights,
all right.
Again, Giants, disappointing. Saw Giants in the trailer that looked awesome. Disappointing. They just fade away when he's walking. He eventually ends up at this house. Actually, his fox tells him to go to this house. So again, his buddy, the fox, looking out for him.
Right.
Or maybe not, because the house is creepy. Yeah. And it's this nice house in the middle of nowhere. We've got, like we said, Joel Edgerton. He's this hunter character. His wife.
This is his house.
And again, a moment where I'm just like, why are people not behaving like normal humans? He goes in, he recognizes the wife as his prostitute girlfriend. You can see it in his eyes. He's like, oh, prostitute girlfriend. Doesn't say anything like, why do you look like my prostitute girlfriend? Or why is this woman here who's blindfolded? Like it. And I get that the blindfolded woman was supposed to be his mom because she blindfolds herself when she does the spell, blah, blah, blah. But again, why are people not acknowledging weird things? And again, is he hallucinating? Is he whatever? Maybe that's why. It's frustrating for me, though. And it took me out of the experience.
Yeah. And this guy is Joel Edgerton character. He's basically like, yeah, bro, come on in. And he's like, don't worry. You can chill with us for a few days. It's not even Christmas yet. Don't even sweat it, dog. The Green Chapel is only like a couple miles from here. It's less than a day. So that morning you can leave and you get there on time. Like, you're good, bro. And he's like, meanwhile, come in here with my smoking schmexy wife, which I'm pretty sure is right from the original Arthurian legend.
Yeah, I think that's a quote, actually, Colby. Good job with the pronunciation.
Gawain is tempted by the smoking foxy woman that
schmexy.
Schmexy. That was the original line from the Green Sir Gawain of the Green Knight. And doth Gawain cross the threshold,
and he saw the schmexy wife,
and seen him the schmexy smoking hot tamale. That's what's betrothed.
Ye be a
that
smoke
was betrothed
show
to the huntsman. She be a total thought. She had that whap.
The old whap. Ye whap.
But she was definitely supposed to, and this is in the original story, is this other woman, the huntsman's wife, is supposed to tempt Gawain. Gawain is supposed to represent one of the 5 pillars, which is chastity. Which, by the way, he was not practicing that very much in the beginning of the movie at the brothel.
No.
So anyway,
he failed.
Right. First scene failed. And so she tempts him in this. I think in the story, like every day she would tempt him and he would resist her every time.
Well, he would give her a kiss.
He would give her a
time.
kiss. He would give her just a kiss on the cheek, but he would resist her advances. And but basically what happens is this huntsman is like, yeah, bro, you can stay at my place. That ain't a thing. I'm going to go out and hunt every day, and you can have whatever I bring back, but you have to give me whatever you gain in the house. That's the original story. That's what they do in this movie, too. Mm-hmm. And in the story, originally, you're right, Gawain, he resists the advances. That's good knight behavior. He gives her a kiss on the cheek because he's a gentleman. And then he has to give a kiss on the cheek to the huntsman when he comes back. That doesn't happen in the movie.
Doesn't do it.
No. But the wife does try to make advances on him. And she's very flirtatious with him, but she's doing all these kind of weird artsy things. She like takes a photograph of him with with a life-size aperture and puts him like upside down on a wall. It's cool. I was just like, why are you doing? Like, what's the point of that scene?
I think that was supposed to represent, and someone else will probably have a smarter answer, that was supposed to be because it was upside down. It's supposed to show that it's the opposite of him, that it's like an honorable person and he's not, kind of thing. I think
very abstract.
Yeah. Someone else probably has a deeper, better understanding of that. We do see that painting in his like flash forward, and it's upright but he's living in shame and doing all these bad things.
Right.
So maybe it is supposed to represent his shame, and now that it's turned upright, it's in effect. Maybe I'm opposite. I don't know, but it definitely has something to do with his honor and that sort of thing. Is what it's supposed to represent that somehow abstract.
Right. And Steve, can you describe the next important scene in excruciating detail, please?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So Mr. Gawain is just waking up with some, as most people do, in a particular state of arousal, as most
people do,
as most healthy young men do. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It means your blood is flowing well. He gets raped.
I guess.
Well, I mean,
this woman comes in.
She comes in. She's like, "Why didn't you come to me last night?" And he's like, "Well, it's wrong." And she's like, "Well, what if I just
right now?"
Yeah, she's like, "Well, what if I just take advantage of your morning wood right now, and just start?" I don't know. I don't think she gets on him. Do they have sex?
No, I think it's like a no. I don't think she inserts. I think it's like an
old fashioned,
very extravagant old fashioned.
Yeah, I think it's an old fashioned.
Which lies a debate. Does he fail the chastity? In
my book, he does not. A girl, so a woman he clearly finds attractive takes advantage of his morning arousal. He doesn't ask for this.
No.
She does it.
Right.
What was he supposed to do?
It, though.
Smack her away?
He doesn't stop it.
He doesn't.
That's the point. But yeah, he doesn't.
No, madam. I will not take ye old fashioned now. Like, come on. This guy was like, come on. And so then he makes.
Before that happened, she showed him the belt, the new
invincible
sash,
belt.
The new sash.
So that was another thing too. She ends up showing him. She's like, "What do you think of my belt of invincibility?" And then he's just like, "Oh, that's nice." At no point did he say,
"It looks just like the one my mom made."
My mom literally made me that before I left on my quest. Does everyone have one of these?
How many people can even make that?
He did not acknowledge it at all. Again, so did anything?
He takes it because he's like, "Fuck yeah!" Because I'm going to this thing where I'm gonna get my head chopped off. I want a belt that's gonna not let me get my head chopped off.
Yeah, it happens when she's giving him ye old fashioned. He rips off the belt. And he's like, "I want it," and then as he's saying that, he climaxes, and he sends his love juice onto the sash, which is convenient because he blesses it even more.
Odd choice.
And it was like you see it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Because I wasn't when it was.
I've never seen that before.
Well, when the scene was happening too, I wasn't even sure like what was going on. I was just like, "Is he just getting aroused about the belt, or what's going on?" Like I didn't even realize that she was doing stuff to him at the time until that happened.
Yeah. So I guess the point is he fails chastity, even though, did he really? I guess that's the debatable part.
No.
Does getting a hand job count as failing chastity?
A girl
He's
coming
no longer chaste.
over to you and giving ye an old fashioned without ye asking for thee is not failing the quest.
Hold on. Yes. Ye thou shalt not be punished for thy unwarranted and unwanted old-fashioned conducted under specific conditions pertaining but not explicitly to morning wood. And that's the official rules of that. So Gawain, congratulations. You actually sort of passed the third one.
You pass in our book, Gawain.
I think, in all honesty, I see him failing the chastity one because he did not resist the temptation. That's how I interpret it. It's like, again, he failed to me.
If
he could have
had a serious girlfriend or relationship or whatever that I valued and was, I would 100% be like, what are you doing? Probably for like a second. And if she just kept going, I don't think I could. I think I would just ignore it.
You better stop.
Oh, no.
5 more minutes of this. I'm going to get really mad.
Five more minutes. In reality, I would have said no, or I would have tried. But I mean, come on, the guy he's. I'm not trying to diminish the character of his girlfriend back home, but she's a prostitute. He did not say he loves her. He did not try and pursue a relationship.
I honestly thought that thing was over. The way he reacted to her, I was like, "Oh, this relationship's over." No, yeah, I don't know. I still see him failing that test, though.
Yeah.
So that's like the third pillar. Two more chances, Gawain.
You are not a knight. And
yes.
I was like, you did this. You did this. This is you did this.
She's like, you are no knight. Right after he comes.
And then he looks
I guess
over.
That's a debate too. Like, was she saying that because like you shouldn't have allowed me to do this, or she's saying that because you lasted like 30 seconds, dude? And I've done this to every single one of those nights. And
so Lancelot was here for days. didn't break till day 4. And his mom or the character that's
she was there.
She was watching. She's blindfolded, and so that freaks him out. He runs away. He runs into the husband in the woods, Joel Edgerton's character, and there's this huge boar with a bunch of spears in it, and it's just like, damn, that would have been a crazy thing to bring down, or maybe it's a bear, I don't know, but
yeah, impressive kill.
And he's like, "Do you have something for me?" Obviously asking for the sash, and Gawain's like,
right.
No, I think I would have gave it to you, and he's like, well, let me double check here, and he gives him the smoochy smooch right in the mouth, and Gawain's like,
my girlfriend was like looking at me, what? She was like, what?
So from the legend, that's supposed to represent that Gawain was supposed to give him the kiss because that's what he got in the house.
But Gawain was supposed to give him the kiss.
Yeah, not the other way around.
And the old fashioned.
And the old fashioned. That's what I thought was gonna come next. I was like, are we gonna get some like?
You thought the man was gonna come next.
Yeah, I was like, are we gonna get like?
You're not getting my puns.
I got your pun. Are we gonna get like what's his name? Yeah, I was like, are we gonna get like a Jack Randall moment here? Like, I'm not ready for this.
I know. That was weird.
So, like, I'm gonna take this from force kind of thing. But anyway, he's like, unhand me, sir. Yeah, unhand me. And so he runs away. He's going then to go see the Green Knight. His fox is like, turn back or you're gonna face.
What does the fox say?
Turn back or you'll fight doom.
Right. And this is his another one of the 5 pillars, friendship, that he breaks here. Because he's like, get your ass out of here now, you stupid fox, for trying to stop me on my quest for honor.
Yeah.
The fox is trying to be a good bro. It's like, you're going to die, man. Don't go there. And
so again, I don't understand though, because if he would have passed this test and listened to his friend, then he would have avoided the Green Knight, and then he wouldn't have that moment of honor, you know. So, so that to me, it's confusing. Yeah. Some people are looking at it. I heard someone else said it was like a deeper meaning, that he wasn't supposed to have the honorable death. He wasn't supposed to seek greatness. He was supposed to just seek living a decent life, just marrying the girl he liked, being a good guy with what the little he could, not trying to be a great, grand, honorable guy, because he doesn't really even understand what those mean. Yeah. So I mean, I can see why some people they love to read into this and they got a lot out of it, but to me, I'm just looking like the fox would have failed you, you know. That's how.
It's a weird moment.
So
but again,
curses the
4th
fox
pillar. 4 out of 5. You're looking at 20% on a test here, going, Sir Gawain. And so basically, it kind of annoyed me, by the way, that they called him Gawain in this.
Same.
Like, I don't know. Like, I've always, and maybe that's right. I don't know. I've just always heard of him as Gawain. In fact, that's the way I continue to say it, even after seeing the movie.
I think there's different pronunciations, and
I even think they pronounced it differently in the movie sometimes, I thought.
Yeah.
Slightly. I don't know. But
they should just say Gawain.
They should have said Gawain, and we're pissed about that.
He goes to the Green Knight. He gets there early, so the quest doesn't start yet. And so he has to like wait.
And the Green Knight's just in the chair. The Green Knight even wakes up one time, like opens his eyes.
He's like,
and Gawain is like, and he's just like, he's like, too early, going back to sleep. He's like, hit the snooze. Bam. So Gawain is just sitting there. By the way, the 5th pillar, we don't really see specifically him break the piety. But the point is that Gawain doesn't do any of this for God. He doesn't do any of it for King Arthur. He does it for himself. That is how he fails. 5th pillar. How Gawain going to be a knight? He's failed all these tests. He's got one final test here. Can he do this challenge in an honorable way? Or is he going to cheat with the sash? You know?
Yeah.
And that's when I'm just like waiting. I was like, I've waited for the Green Knight again. I can't wait for him to come back. He's been cool. He had the scene in the beginning where he didn't even talk right away. He had Guinevere was talking for him, but you heard his voice. That was awesome scene. Awesome scene. Very clever. And then he talks after his head gets chopped off. 1 year hence. And he wakes up and he gets up and he's like, Ma, is it that time already? Is it Christmas already or something? And Gawain's like,
it's Christmas Day, sir. I say, what day is it?
And he's just like, you came. And he's like, yeah, I did.
Earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been here. That's good. That shows good promptness. That's going to get you places. Most people show up right on time or 5 minutes after. I hate that.
he lays the axe down. He comes down and he gets ready to swing.
And he's
And he's just like, wait, this is it? And he's like, yeah, what else do you need?
He's like, yeah, what else do you want?
Now let's get ready to chop off your head here. And eventually he keeps flinching. The Green Knight's like, I didn't flinch, bro. And then eventually we see Gawain runs away, gets his horse. He rides all the way back home. He lives his life, and his girlfriend, he goes back and he just wears a sash all the time now, in shame. His girlfriend has a baby for him. He just takes it from her. The son dies, and then eventually
he marries an honorable woman that came in, like a princess or something. He marries her.
He becomes a king. He gets knighted for supposedly completing his quest
by Arthur in his deathbed.
Yeah.
And then his kingdom crumbles.
His son dies.
By the way, the very first shot of the movie was a pretty awesome shot. He was like, Gawain was sitting in a throne and his head caught on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh my God!
Dev Patel was just sitting there. They're like, we're going to film the crown coming down now. And then the rigging just caught fire.
Caught fire, and they just kept the shot. No, but it was a pretty sweet scene. It looked really cool with Dev Patel's head on fire. And it was, I guess it could represent his kingdom catching fire after him being king, I guess. So anyway, all this shit is going horribly wrong until the very end when like the castle has been laid siege to, and he's sitting on the throne. He looks much older. By the way, I gotta say, he was also, before we get to that part, he was also out at a battle and they were obviously losing, and he came back and he was
his son was dead too.
His son was dead. That's right. His son died, and he's just looking broken. And I thought Dev Patel looked like a cool medieval character here. Just costume-wise, makeup, he looked older. I just thought, I was like, damn, that looks like he fits in that time period. Costume's cool. And when he rides back in, he looks in the crowd. And who does he see there, Steve?
Oh, girlfriend, prostitute girlfriend. Super pissed. And he gets poop thrown at him. Like you said, the castle gets laid siege, and then he dies. I thought he got shot, but then he like pulls out like the sash out of his stomach, and then he's like
belt on his waist, and like,
well, it looks like it comes out of like a hole out of him. Maybe it's just like a hole in his armor.
Yeah, but
then his head falls off, just like it did get cut off.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't worn a belt since this movie came out, just in case.
And so I interpret the sash as his shame there going through life as, and in the original story, like I said earlier, he actually passes everything else. He passes the chastity and that with the woman, the generosity with the guy. And then he fails the last one. In this one, it seems the opposite, because he wakes up from the vision, takes the belt off, and he probably dies. But anyway, or
lives,
or maybe he lives. But in this future he sees for himself, it's where he has the belt on, and he goes back and he gets made a knight. So he probably told them that he passed all the tests that he did, and that the belt kept him safe from the axe, that he took the blow.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of meta in the fact that they're like trying to say that like this is what really happened. If he would have gone back, like the rest of it would have been made up and made legend kind of thing.
And like
he wakes up and I was like super hyped. I was like, oh, cool. Something cool is going to happen. It's different stuff.
Yeah.
And like, it's not going to lead to a boring, vague ending, but it did.
Yeah. I know. I was like, oh, what's he going to do? Like, what's he going to do? And apparently the Green Knight too, we need to rewatch this, but he like rubs his thumb on the back of Gawain. After Gawain takes the belt off, the Green Knight rubs his thumb on the back of Gawain's neck. And that's supposed to be to his blow, apparently I saw.
He also goes like this, like around his neck.
Or around the neck, yeah. But that, apparently some like people interpret like that was the blow he decided to give him.
Yeah.
And he smiles at him at the end because he says, "Off with your head." And that's it. That is it. We're done. Movie done. Post-credit scene, girl crown. Done. We leave confused, disappointed, and
now we're here podcasting about it.
Now we're here podcasting about it. But I mean, it still had a lot of stuff to talk about. Again, I like the message: live an honorable life, live like a knight of the round table. Star Wars developed their Jedi virtue based on these principles. You know, like indirectly, Steve and I have based our lives on Star Wars. So like on the Jedi way, and those come from like King Arthur and chivalric knight type things. That's the stuff like George Lucas like referenced to create that. So like
we're basically Jedi.
Yeah.
And
basically Knights of the Round Table.
Knights of the Round Table.
I would never accept a hand job from a smoking schmexy.
Yeah. I think we pretty much covered our all of our theories there. If there's anything you guys can think of, especially the giant thing, I would like to know a little bit more about that.
Can I tell you what I wish could, like maybe what could have made it work more?
Yeah.
Like if Gawain failed every test along the way and he passed the final one and he didn't die, maybe like a short redemption sequence going back and showing that he learned, that he's ready now to become the man who can lead, who can be a knight, who can someday take the throne. He's had the trials. This movie meant something, you know. He's learned how to be a good knight instead of just ending it. And I guess I can pretend that happened in my head with the way the movie ended. I can interpret it like that. But why did even Morgan Le Fay, why did she even do this? Again, did she do it to usurp the throne of Arthur and get her son on the throne, get him off the throne, even though he was just going to die anyway?
Yeah, he died a natural
so it wasn't like that, you know? So, or did she do it because she knew her son needed a challenge to become a better man? Like she saw he was going to the brothel and skipping church and stuff. That's kind of what I choose to believe. I think she was making this for her son specifically. And then also in the original story, apparently she was doing it to just test all of the knights. And it would just happen to be Gawain who answered the call, you know, Morgan Le Fay. So yeah, you know, it's again up for interpretation of why did she decide to do this. And
in my head, he dies in the end because the movie is, Joel Edgerton even says like, oh, so you do one thing and you go back a better man. And that's what happens in a lot of times in movies. They go through one quest and they come back changed. We talk about like Iron Man is like the quintessential. One thing happens to him, he's a better man now because of that. So I mean, I think they were trying to subvert that sort of trope,
expectation,
subvert expectations, and I think in the end, then the only way he could have been honorable and become great in that instance is if he takes the axe on the head and dies and has an honorable death like all the guys out in the battlefield where it's just meaningless and he's dead now.
Right.
You know, that's, to me, that's how I interpret it. And I'm just not happy with that. So,
yeah. And I kind of interpret it that maybe he did, you know, was able to relearn his lessons and become somebody who could lead. That's how I choose to interpret it.
I would like that. And even if they showed that,
I like the way to interpret it, but I don't like how they executed it. I don't like how they presented it.
And I think even if they showed those things like what you're saying, if they would have showed him go back, do some things, showed him maybe become a good king, people could have still interpreted that as maybe another false ending. And they could have been like, was the ending before he before he chose to remove the sash? Maybe that was the real ending. Maybe the other one was the real ending. But now we just have, to me, it appears that whole sequence was not the real ending to me with the sash. And then him actually giving in and passing was the real ending. And to me, the only way it makes sense to me is that he dies. Otherwise, I think they would have showed it, the other thing, you know. but yeah, tell us your thoughts, guys.
Or don't.
Or don't. We did record previously another Arthurian adaptation on Cursed, and we've just never put it out because it was another time we were disappointed. We might put it out if the season 2 ever comes out, but
yeah,
I'm hoping that maybe
so
Bernard
we're probably not
Cornwell's-
going to put this one out either. So enjoy it.
And I'm hoping we get another cool Arthurian adaptation. I'm hoping maybe like Bernard Cornwell's books get adapted here,
Which we heard that might happen.
yeah. So let us know, guys. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if you want us to cover any other Arthurian movie or
Book,
series or anything.
novel,
Book,
animated show, comic book,
tattoo.
tattoo. We'll do tattoos.
Show us
Scrolls.
your tattoos. Send us your tattoos, please. Only
Yes.
Arthurian ones.
Yes.
Well, anyways, everyone, thank you for listening. If you like the video or the podcast, make sure you subscribe, like, follow. Check us out on social media. We got the links down in the description of the video. And if you haven't checked out the rest of our channel, make sure to check that out. And yeah, it's like we always say, Colby.
Don't forget to let honor be your guiding light even in the darkest of times. That is an original statement.
Original. Trademark.
Original. Yes. As we always say, Steve.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.